It is an extremely challenging task to explain the behavior of large-scale neural networks. Models nowadays consist of billions of parameters, and to create representations of their input, they use high-dimensional vectors that are hard to interpret. To make sense of such a complex system, we can turn our attention to related scientific fields that deal with a similar order of complexity. The field of cognitive science is the study of the human mind and brain, and focuses on how the mind represents and manipulates knowledge, and how mental representations and processes are realized in the brain. While it is important to keep in mind that the brain operates in a fundamentally different way than neural networks do, we can, at a more abstract level, still attempt to draw parallels between the analysis of cognitive processes and neural networks. So, how can we leverage insights from this field to help us interpret large-scale neural networks? An important concept from cognitive science is the tri-level hypothesis of David Marr. This hypothesis states that cognitive systems must be explained at 3 different levels of analysis at varying levels of abstraction. We can use these levels as inspiration for explaining neural networks. The highest level of abstraction is the computational level, which asks, what does a system do? And what problems does it solve or overcome? Next, there is the algorithmic level, which asks, how does the system do what it does? And what representations does it use for this? Then, at the lowest level of abstraction, there is the implementational level, which asks how the system is physically realized. What neural circuitry implements the system? These 3 levels have been important in shaping the way we analyze cognitive processes in the brain. How would these transfer to the explanation of artificial models? At the highest level of abstraction, we can interpret a model at a behavioral level. How does it behave on specific phenomena? To interpret a model at this level, we only need to observe its predictions on carefully crafted stimuli, without having to make sense of its inner workings. Next, at the algorithmic level, we can distinguish between 2 types of explanation methods. Attributional methods explain model predictions in terms of the input features that were most important for the model and had the strongest contribution. Probing methods, on the other hand, allow us to ask questions about what abstract concepts are being encoded by the model. These 2 types of explanations allow us to gain better insights into the question of how does the system do what it does. Finally, at the implementational level, there is the field of mechanistic interpretability, which tries to find specific circuits responsible for a particular behavior. This is the lowest level of abstraction. Model behavior is now being explained at the level of its most rudimentary operations. When trying to understand artificial models, it is useful to take on a holistic view of their behavior by explaining them at different levels of abstraction. We will now have a closer look at some of these explanation methods. Behavioral analysis of artificial language models has been important for assessing their understanding of language and grammar. Since language models are trained to predict the probability of the next word, we can use these predictions directly to measure their notions of grammaticality. By comparing their predicted probability of a grammatical sentence and an ungrammatical sentence, we obtain detailed insights into their understanding of specific linguistic phenomena, such as subject-verb agreement. Behavioral tests give us insights into what a model can do, but it doesn't answer the question why a model gave a certain prediction. Feature attribution methods are a popular explanation technique that explain a prediction in terms of the strongest contributing input features. This way, we obtain a detailed insight into which features were most important to the model. This is a highly useful technique for uncovering biases in a model. It allows us to locate the source of a prediction. which can uncover undesired stereotypes inside the model. How do we compute the relative importance of a feature? This is done by perturbing parts of the input and measuring the change in model output. The larger this change, the more impactful a particular perturbation has been. Perturbations are achieved by removing or replacing parts of the input. How we should perform this perturbation is not straightforward, however, and this gives rise to a wide range of different attribution methods that all tackle this question in a different way. For example, we could represent the missingness of a feature by replacing it with a neutral feature instead. Or we could sample a replacement from a distribution of alternatives. Another line of methods does this in a counterfactual way, by explaining a prediction in terms of why did the model predict X instead of Y. All these different aspects of feature attributions have led to a wide range of different methods being proposed that all claim to show the most important features for a prediction. It turns out there is a large degree of disagreement between these different methods. One feature might be deemed very important by one method, but insignificant by another. How can we know which explanation is the right one? The black box nature of the model we're trying to explain makes this an impossible task. Furthermore, this disagreement raises the question whether we can even simplify a complex model prediction to a list of importance scores. In order to resolve these issues, we may need to interpret models at a more fine-grained level, diving deeper into its inner workings. In the next videos, we will demonstrate various methods that have been proposed to create explanations that are more faithful to a model's actual behavior.